Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series, Daily Dave. Now, hope you're doing good. It's like June 17th. I'm recording this. I've worked all night, everyone. It's 10:30 in the morning. I've been up since 9:30 last night. Feeling a little punchy. Yeah, anyways, I wanted to spend some time with you. So, okay, I've actually encouraged people to do this before. It's happened for me, and it happened just recently, so I wanted to share with you as an idea, an engagement idea for you and your podcast. I want you to try this to see if it works for you just the way it's worked for me. On my podcast editing and support show, yes, one of my 8 podcasts, this is a podcast where I help podcast hosts find a podcast editor or a podcast editor to turn into a job, basically, and find other podcasts to be an editor for. So it's a dual purpose podcast. So it's called Podcast Editing and Support Show at podcasteditingandsupport.com. Good website, Dave. Thank you. Ding, ding. And what I did on one of my episodes is I've been looking through my stats. I'm hosted on Captivate.fm for that show. And looking at my stats, I can see a map of the world, and I can see that I have a listener, and specifically a listener in Germany that has been listening to every episode of my podcast. So knowing that, when I went to record, they were in my mind, and I just, in the moment, I called them out. I mentioned them in the podcast and challenged them to respond because I wanted them to know that I could see them. Now, okay, here, I'll share, this is the beginning of the podcast episode. So this is me introducing this part of the thing that had caught my attention. And then I want to share with you the result. Can you see where I'm going with this? Probably. So here's my intro to the show, a little snippet of it, where I call out my German listener and challenge them to respond. So here we go. If it's your first time here, thank you for listening. Thank you for pressing play. I have a listener in Germany who's been listening to every episode. So I want to say hello to my new friend in Germany. Thank you for listening. You know who you are, and I really appreciate you checking out the show. I would love to hear from you. Podcasteditingandsupport.com is my website. There's a SpeakPipe thing. You can leave me a voice message. It's free. And I'd love to hear your voice for listening over there in Germany as I'm here in Canada. But I see you. And I really appreciate you for listening. Today we're going to look at leveling up your podcast. So you can kind of get a sense of where I'm going to be going with this, right? You know me. You know what I do. So I get an email through my SpeakPipe that somebody's left me a voice message. I love getting these emails, by the way, because I never know who these people are just by their names. I have no idea even which podcast they're maybe responding to. So I have no idea when I press play on this. And this is what I hear. You ready? Here we go.
Hey, Dave. My name is Simit Patel. I am actually your listener in Germany. Thank you very much for the shout out and your podcast a couple of weeks ago. I just wanted to say hey and probably just explain a bit because you're probably confused as to why you're getting this odd data point lighting up in in Germany. So yeah, a bit about me. I'm actually currently a biologist. I work in scientific software.
So there you go, and it goes on from there. But Simit responds. I was like, wait, hang on. And then I'm thinking, which podcast did I call out my German listener? And I had to go back and listen to a bunch of my shows, and this is from a few weeks ago, and there you go. Everyone, it works. It works. So, yeah. I'm encouraging you to go into your stats this week. I want you to pick out, say, the last 4 episodes. If you have 4, if you have 2, if you have 1, whatever. I want you to pick out the last few episodes of your podcast, most recent ones. And depending on your hosting site, many will do this, some maybe don't, but I know that Buzzsprout does. I know Captivate does, and I know that Spotify for Podcasters does. Some do it better, Some give you more details. But what I want you to do is go in and look at your episode stats, not the podcast stats, but a specific episode, and look at a few of them. And look to see if you find a common listener identified. So it could be Columbus, Ohio. It could be a city in Germany. It could be St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, where I am. It could be something specific, and you're seeing that same location in several podcast episodes in a row. And then just make it what I did. I just called this person out and encouraged them to respond. I want you to try it, and I want you to let me know over at howtopodcast.ca if it worked. Did it work? Did they respond when you called them out as a listener, not knowing who they are, what their name is? All you know is where they're listening from. Because I love Simit's the laughter in his voice as he responds that, hey, you found me. I'm your listener. That is so cool, right? So that's my challenge for you. Short episode. I want you to do this. It's happening in the moment, so I wanted to share it with you so you can you can try this on your own show. So again, look at your stats, go into the episode level, not the overall podcast level, but go right into the episodes and pick a few that are in a row, your last few episodes, and then just look for something that's common. And like, for example, pick a U.S. state, a U.S. city in that state, and then look and see if you see that same listen across multiple episodes. And then just shout out that one listener and see if they respond. Set up a SpeakPipe if you don't have it. It's free, speakpipe.com. That's how I got that message to come to me. Set up SpeakPipe and then invite the person that's listening to respond to your SpeakPipe. Put it in your show notes so they can click it and go right to it. Add SpeakPipe to your website so that anybody can respond. But it's such a great feeling, right? And this is how I ended off that episode where Simit responded. I started at the beginning of the podcast, I called them out, and at the end I did it again. So this is what it sounded like at the end of the podcast, just to give you a point of reference. And again, I'm encouraging you to try this on your next episode. Do your research, look at your stats. This is the fun you can have with stats. Instead of worrying about how many listeners, pick one person and call them out and see what they do. And then let me know at howtopodcast.ca. Use my SpeakPipe and tell me, Dave, it worked. I'd love to hear that story, okay? So please do that. howtopodcast.ca. Click the SpeakPipe and tell me what happens when you do this type of call out on your next episode. It worked, guys. It really worked, and I'm so thrilled. Simit, thank you for listening to the podcast. It's so cool. But this is how I ended off my episode, again, referring to my listener in Germany. Would love to hear from you. And again, to the listener in Germany, you make my heart happy. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Catch you on the next episode, everyone. Thank you for being here. Get out there, edit, and post. Take care. Talk soon.